Do you and your husband have the same style aesthetic?
Initially, he used to get really annoyed at me, I'm going to be honest, yeah, constantly. Like, I used to wait till he went to work and I would just zoom down to Woody's.
Hello and welcome to Girls with Goals. I'm Niamh Maher and you're very welcome to the show this week. I'm a massive fan of our next guest. Creative business owner and interior design guru Joanne Mooney joins me. Joanne, you're very welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, thank you.
No, of course. So we're going to start off before we get into everything because I have so much to ask you about. We're going to start off with our game. So it's called 6 Words or Less, and it's for any of our readers of Her or listeners of the show and viewers of the show as well who may not know who you are. So you have to describe yourself in 6 words or less, so in your own time.
Okay, so I have to say creative. I'm quite shy, I'm hyper. I really can't sit still, loads of energy, and obsessed with interiors.
Brilliant.
Yes.
That was fantastic.
That's
Probably
5.
a little bit more than 6 words, but that's okay. We'll let you get away with it. So I want to go back a little bit in your career. So you have an online business called Tiny Things, as well as your Instagram account, which I follow, and that's kind of like how I became a little bit obsessed with following you, called A Proud Home.
Yeah.
So Tiny Things first, how did that come about?
Okay, so we're going back 15 years. My daughter, I was pregnant. I have 2 daughters, which are 14 and 15 now. So when I was pregnant on my first child, I was decorating her nursery, looking for something different, you know, personalised artwork. Now we're going back, as I said, 15 years before Facebook, before social media, before anything. And I couldn't find anything in Ireland with her name, birth details and artwork in particular I was looking for. And I'm always, even back then, it was all about colour. I wanted something really colourful. So I painted a picture for Rachel with her name, and I think it was a hot air balloon or something, really colourful, her details of her birth, time she was born, weight. And then I had it in her nursery and friends were coming over like, oh my God, can you do one of them for my friend? She's due a baby. Of course, we were at the age where we were all having babies, you know, in her early 30s or whatever. And I started doing them as gifts. And then I could see there was a little bit of a gap in the market. So I started doing markets. So I used to do Malahide Market. I used to do markets in town. Small little craft fairs, like after Mass. I used to get the Mass crowd in Portmarnock, actually. I used to do one, in the community centre.
Nice.
And
Knew I should have gone to Mass.
So from word of mouth, really, it kind of started to grow, and I could see people were interested in buying. I actually used to sell in a florist in Portmarnock as well. So I set up, in 2010, I set up a Facebook page when Facebook kind of was only starting out. And I was taking orders through Facebook, and I could see it was getting busier and busier. So then I set up my own website. It was a freewebs.com. I didn't put any money into it. So gradually over the years, I was just putting all the money I was earning into my artwork, I was putting into Tiny Things. And I had 3 or 4 websites then. Then I met a web designer, set up a really nice website, you know, and kind of just grew legs from there, you know, so.
And were you working aside from this?
Yeah.
Because it sounds like it really started off as a passion project.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then was there a turning point for you when you were able to kind of leave like another full-time job? Were you working in the creative industry anyway?
No, I was actually a dental nurse in the HSE. Yeah, and then I went on to have another child, another daughter, and I was doing both. So I was working full-time in the HSE, 9 to 5, and I used to sometimes bring my artwork in at lunchtime on my break. It was just non-stop. When I came home from work, I worked. Saturdays and Sundays I did the craft fairs. It was just really, really put all the work in. And when I got to the stage where I had built up a really good customer base and I was earning good money through Tiny Things, I took the risk. Then I was initially going to take a career break, and then I thought, you know what, I'm just going to do this. So I handed in my resignation. I'd say that was 8 years ago in the HSE. Everyone thought I was mad. My mum, civil service, HSE, everyone's like, are you mad doing this? So
Pension?
Giving it all up. So I resigned and set up a little workshop in the spare bedroom. And it's been really, really, it's the best thing I ever did. It's been a real success. You know.
And what kind of, I mean, obviously I think in any business, especially when you're running it yourself, taking that first step into, you know, saying that you're going to do this full time is a scary thing. But were you really confident in the way that it was going? Like you said earlier, that you saw a gap in the market. So did you have any fears about the longevity of it or how it would do? But I suppose people are always having kids, right?
Yeah, well, that's it, exactly. There was always a market. And then I branched out. I wasn't only doing children's birth details. I started doing, Christmas was huge, communions, christenings. I started doing home stuff then that's kind of, you know, home plaques with family names and all the children's names hanging off. Now, a lot of other businesses similar to mine were popping up over the years.
Yeah.
You know, and that just put fire in my belly.
Right.
That just makes me kind of always kind of trying to come out with something different, you know, always bringing out new products. I think that was the secret to it. You know, you can't just keep going on the same, doing the same stuff. I had to keep thinking outside the box, and any new products I come out with, other people have the same products. So you just have to keep on top of your game.
Yeah.
But it's so labour intensive because someone puts an order in, it's not like I'm taking something off the shelf. I'd have to sit there for maybe 2 or 3 hours painting and making, because it's all personalised, so it's not mass produced. So
yeah.
It kind of took its toll on me. It got really, really busy, like ridiculously busy about 2 or 3 years ago. And that's when I really pulled back on the work and started my kind of interiors thing then.
Yeah, I suppose as well, because when you're getting orders in, like, I would imagine if you were starting it off yourself, like every order you get in, you're just like, oh my God, this must be like an incredibly proud moment. You know, somebody is buying this thing that I'm making for them that they, you know, are going to have for however many years. Is very personalized. But at the same time, you know, the pressure of making sure that everything is as good as the last thing, I would imagine, can get quite taxing as well.
Yeah, no.
So you moved on then to, well, not you moved on to interiors, but like presumably interiors has been something that you've been interested in for a very long time. Has it always kind of been an interest?
Yeah, always. Even when we were younger, I think it was from my mum. She was always moving furniture around. And then I used to do it in my bedroom. I remember being really young and sanding down a dressing table in my bedroom and painting it, and I pulled the carpets up, and in our old house, my mum's house, we had the original wooden floors, and I painted my bedroom purple. And think back now, purple, I wouldn't go for purple now, but I've always had it. I think it was from my mum, because she was always she was a single parent, she was widowed, so she was always doing like wallpapering up a ladder, painting herself. So I think from watching her doing things herself and thinking, because I think a lot of people, going back now, when you were young, your dad was always up the ladder, or your dad was doing all the DIYs, but my mum did it all, and I think that's what inspired me from a young age. We were, and even in the garden, I used to cut the grass, and you know, anything. I just love. It's not really about interiors. It's making a house a home, and it's that feeling of, you know, you putting your own stamp on your home, you know, even if it's you painting a table, and it just gives me like fuzzy feeling inside to do things myself in my own home. Yeah. And I just get such a buzz from it, you know, and that's why I'm still doing it now. Yeah.
I love your Instagram account, A Proud Home. So that came about kind of on the back of Tiny Things, I suppose. Like, you were posting pictures of your own home, and I'm presuming that it was getting really good engagement.
Yeah.
So A Proud Home only started the Instagram account like in 2017, right, a couple of years ago, and it has completely taken off. You have over 25,000 followers now.
Yeah.
Did you ever expect that it would kind of just go like that?
Absolutely not. No, as you said, when I used to take product photography for the website, I'd have a home plaque hanging up. I'd take photos, and in the background might be a sideboard that I painted the other day, and someone would say, "What's that in the background? Did you paint that?" And I'd be like, "Yeah." I could see people were looking behind my plaques into the kitchen, into the couches that I have, or whatever I had in my house. So I could see there was an interest in it. So I started to kind of just throwing in 1 or 2 photos on my Tiny Things page of something. Say I had a sideboard I bought in Harvey Norman's. It was really dark wood, and I sanded it and painted daisies on the side of it. I just don't want to paint furniture. I like to do something a little bit different, you know.
Yeah.
And then I could see the reach was kind of high on anything I put up in my house. So I just, at the time, I was saying to you, Tiny Things got a bit overwhelming for me, as in I wasn't really leaving my house. I was working really hard, and it was the monster I created, and it was getting too busy, and I didn't want to outsource, and I had the options from Fingal to outsource and set up offices, and I just wanted to keep it small and keep it in my house, but it just got too much for me. So that's when I set up A Proud Home, more for a distraction and maybe a little bit more of an outlet from Tiny Things. 2 years ago, and as well as that, there wasn't many Irish interior pages.
Yeah, there wasn't.
Very
There still isn't a huge amount.
It's still loads of new ones popping up now, and it took me back to 15 years ago when I started Tiny Things.
Yeah.
I could see there's a little gap there. There wasn't many people in Ireland. I mean, in the UK and America, you could get personalised everything.
Yeah.
Back then, I mean, even now you can get personalised anything. You can get the dressing gowns with your name on the back. But back in like 15, 16 years ago, like, people were like, "Oh, my name is on that." You know, people used to love to see that.
Yeah.
So when I set up A Proud Home, it was a similar situation in that I could see there was a little gap there in the interiors industry on Instagram in Ireland. You know, I mean, in the UK, there's so many pages, and I could see a lot of them were growing. So I set up a proud home and just started taking photos around the house, and kind of, you know, just kind of grew legs from that. I was not expecting it to be another job, which it's turned
well,
into.
it is, yeah. Well, the thing is, I suppose, you know, you have over 25,000 followers, so that 100% puts you into the realm of being, now, calm down before I say it, an online influencer.
Yeah.
So, like, how do you feel about that word influencer in general? Because, like, it does have negative connotations now, you know, in the last few years, like that in Ireland, the influencer industry has just blown up. But yours is very specific in terms of the fact that it's an interiors account. But like, how do you feel about being labelled or being called an influencer, an online influencer at all?
Well, it wasn't my intention.
Yeah.
I did a photo shoot in January with House and Home magazine, and we in the Grayson in town, and there was a few of us were emailed to come in for this photo shoot. We didn't know what it was for, and then when the issue came out, it was just this big spread, influencer edition, and it was me and 4 other Instagrammers, and we was kind of stamped then, and I was like, oh, now I'm an influencer.
Yeah.
House and Home magazine said I'm an influencer, but it certainly wasn't my intention to set out to be an influencer.
Yeah.
If you know, if I inspire people to be more creative at home, that's my goal.
Yeah.
But I mean, obviously along the way, if I'm going to make money out of influence and something that I'm passionate about, of course I'm gonna do it. But it doesn't really bother me. As you said, I know they kind of do have a bad name, some of them, but I think in Ireland, in the interiors, it's there's not many. I mean, in the beauty industry, in the fitness industry, you know, there's so many influencers out there, and with interiors, it's just a little bit different, and it's quite new in Ireland. So
well, this is it, and also like in terms of the online community in general, like people can be really nasty online, you know, to bloggers and to influencers. But what's the interiors community like in terms of the engagement and the interaction that you have with the people who follow you? Is it a mostly positive space? Because like from my point of view, I'm someone who would follow a lot of interiors accounts. I love decorating my home. Like we'll get into some of the things that I've done wrong, which you can hopefully help me with later on. But I do love, you know, watching them and interacting with them and stuff like that. So I haven't really seen a huge amount of like negativity, which must be a nice thing.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a really nice community, and I have met really nice friends along the way, as I've only 2 years set up, but there are definitely good friends I've made, and it's a nice community, and we're all very kind of, you know, we get most recently we kind of get invited to all these events that are coming up, and we get to meet every now and again. So a lot of times, you probably yourself, I would be messaging a lot of these people and I've never met them in the flesh, and you get to meet them, and we've got so much in common. We're all obsessed with interiors, you know. So no, it's a really nice community, and it's loads of new pages popping up every day. As I was saying to you initially, I could say there was 5 that I knew about, and I often say this when I'm out with the interior Instagrammers. I'd say when I started out 2 years ago, I'd say there was only 5. And they'd be like, no, I had my page then, I had my page. So they were probably there, but I didn't know about them. So I'm always saying that there was only a few, but there was only a few that I knew about. But there's definitely, it's a growing community, 100% definitely in interiors on Instagram.
Now, I want to talk about your home, because it is, if you haven't seen it, go onto A Proud Home and look at Joanne's house. It is, I would just say, an explosion of colour. So, like, colour is your thing.
Yeah.
That's kind of it. That's
absolutely
safe to say.
Yeah.
And you said earlier that, like, grey is the new magnolia, which I want to talk about in a minute, because that's so interesting. And I am devastated that our couches are grey now, and I have you yellow couch sitting in front of me. Yeah. But you live there with your husband and your children and your dog Rocky, who I'm completely obsessed with as well. Yeah. Do you and your husband have the same style aesthetic?
Initially, he used to get really annoyed at me, I'm going to be honest. Yeah, constantly. Like, I used to wait till he went to work and I would just zoom down to Woody's. And that's why everyone says, oh my God.
Wait till he went to work.
Yeah, because he hates me doing anything in the house. And it's not like I'm just painting a magnolia wall. I always do mad stuff, like, you know. So he gets and he hates the mess. Like, he's a bit OCD. So when I'm painting, like, the whole world could fall around down me. There's paint pots everywhere. And I'm just like, you know, and he hates it. So I used to wait till he went to work, and people would like, oh my God, you're so fast. You start at 8 o'clock in the morning, you have it done by 3. I'm like, that's because I have to have it done before my husband gets home from work. Because if he comes home and I'm in way through it or I haven't even started, he's like, no, just leave it, you know. So
Yeah.
loads of times I've done that. But over the years, he's actually mellowed a lot and he kind of just leaves me to my own devices now, you know.
Okay. Does he ever kind of give input in terms
Yeah.
of, you know, that might look good there, or that might look good there, or don't do that to the utility ceiling, or like things like this, or which I love, by the way. I love your utility room ceiling. It's amazing. Go look at it.
Yeah.
I sound like such a fan. But go on.
Yeah, no, sometimes he would have an input, but as the years have gone on now, he kind of doesn't. I mean, I have a canary yellow velvet couch in my living room. I mean,
You do. You have a yellow couch.
yeah. I love my yellow couch.
So you were talking earlier, kind of before we came on air, about how Irish people are a little bit afraid of interior design, and you know, not that we're afraid of it, like we love looking at it and consuming the content. So like on our site, for example, whenever we do an interiors piece, it does so well. So like people really want to read about interiors, and you know, I think we all want a canary yellow couch, but we end up getting
the grey, playing it safe. Yeah.
The grey, playing it safe. So why do you think that is? Do you think it's literally just us like almost coming around to it, or do you think maybe it's because we're in a very much rental market at the moment?
It's probably a combination of both. I think a lot of people say to me, "Oh my God, you're so brave. You're so brave, because you have a yellow couch." I'm like, it's not. I think people are just afraid to just, it's like going out and, I always compare my house to my personal style.
Right.
It's like, would you go out, some people will not go out and wear a bright yellow dress. They were like, oh no, people are going to be looking at me, you know. So I think a lot of people style their houses like they dress, you know.
Right, yeah.
And I think, you know, that's why I'm always talking about personality in your home. You should always have your mark, you know, stamped in your house. And when people walk into my house, I'd like to think they would know that's Joanne Mooney's house, because it's me, you know. And I think people play it safe in their interiors and maybe how they dress themselves, and they just don't want to step outside the box and be different. And that's what I'm trying to get people to do, to be a little bit more creative. I'm not telling you to go out and buy a canary yellow couch or an orange couch. Maybe you could just introduce colour a little bit. Maybe get a yellow cushion on your grey couch, or an orange throw on your grey couch, so you're not committing to a massive piece of furniture that you might not like down the line, you know. So there are ways to sneak a little bit of colour and creativity into your home, without having big investments, like, as I said, my yellow couch, or painting a wall, or painting your ceiling pink, or, you know. So you can introduce colour that way. But people are definitely afraid to use colour, and I'm trying to break the mould.
And what about trends when it comes to interior design? Because like, obviously, you know, your house, the moment you go onto your Instagram account, all you can see is just an incredible colour everywhere you look. But obviously, you know, with interior design, there are trends, there's minimalism, there's shabby chic, there's all these kind of different things. Do you follow those trends at all? Or like, you know, in Ireland for the last kind of 25 years, it was the lovely magnolia wall. That was a trend. I don't know where that came from and why that came, because it just looks like it's been painted for 15 years. I don't get it. But do you follow those trends, or where do those trends come from?
I think especially dark colours this year and last year were huge in interiors. Like, people were all going really dark navy, dark, and then for me personally, I don't follow trends. My house, I'm always saying, is kind of eclectic mix of everything. I mean, I like contemporary. I like you know, I like colour. I like boohoo. I can never give myself. Some people said they're minimalist, or they're you know, I can't stop myself with a particular design in my house. It's kind of a mixture of everything. So I don't follow fashions or trends when it comes. If I see something I like, I'll buy it. I don't tend to follow, like, you know, the colour of the year was what was the spice this year? It was magnolia, if you ask me. It was a brownie, but I wouldn't run out and buy it because it's the colour of the year, you know. So normally, no, I wouldn't follow trends. I just go with what I like in my home, you know.
That's good advice. And in terms of like your home, back again, just when it comes to your Instagram, the pictures that you take are so good. And so I want to get some tips on how you take these incredible interior pictures, basically for my own Instagram account. But like, is there any knacks? Is it about the amount of natural light that's coming in, or the positioning of things? Or like, do you have a certain process when you're taking a picture to make sure that it aesthetically looks as good? Because obviously in other industries, you know, there's a little bit of editing that goes on, and everybody knows about that. But do you have any kind of tricks of the trade that you can share with us?
Well, first of all, I use my camera phone. I don't have a camera, you know, a fancy camera.
So you just use my
iPhone. Light is really important. Yeah, definitely. I would, when you see a photo on my Instagram, there's usually a lot of work goes behind that photo.
Yeah.
It's not, I'm running out the door, I'll take that and put it up. I would prep a photo for ages. And as I was saying when I came on set here, sometimes you could be looking at my kitchen looking absolutely pristine. Behind that is just a pile, it's
And your husband like flailing around.
Yeah, but like my husband would know, were you doing a photo shoot earlier on? Because everything is just pushed to one corner. So, but I get such a buzz out of that. And I love, as part of creativity, I love creative photography. And I try to do little things a little bit different when I'm taking photos. So I like to add kind of quirky things in, but it's definitely similar to when I'm DIYing or painting or creating. When I'm taking photos like that, I'm totally in the zone, like the whole world could fall around and the kids will be starving, the dog will be barking. I'm like, shh, I'm in the zone taking photos. I actually love it. I really love it. And a lot goes into my pictures. As I said to you, it's not just click and go. And I follow a lot of Instagram interior pages, and their houses are absolutely stunning. Like some of them are like, there's one house that's like a 7-bedroom manor, beautiful house, but the photos don't do the house justice. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, you could live in a 1-bed apartment and or a 2-bed apartment, or you don't have to live in a massive, beautiful house to take really nice photos. It's how you style your shoot.
Yeah.
I think it's definitely how you take your photo. But some houses I follow on Instagram, I know they're gorgeous, but they just don't capture it properly. And there is a lot of work behind it, taking photos. And I'm a bit neurotic about it and obsessive about it. That I have to have a nice flow on my page, and I try not to put the yellow sofa in. At one stage, I looked at my page and it was just like yellow, yellow, yellow. My yellow wardrobe, my yellow sofa.
Yeah.
So it's as well as that, you're trying to pan it out so you're not putting the same rooms up all the time. For example, my peach room, it's like when you get a new dress and you just wear it all the time because you love it. I'm like that when I do up a room. I keep taking photos in it, and I'm sure people are like, oh my God, not this peach room again. She's still taking photos of it.
It's so funny that you're saying that about like rooms as opposed to outfits, because like we have those conversations around the desk sometimes about like if we have a dress that maybe like looked really nice or something like that, and we posted a picture of it on Instagram, and then we have an event the next week and we almost feel like we can't wear it again because we just posted a picture in it. And it's terrible. We should be able to, as long as you wash it. Like, what's the problem?
Yeah, you don't want them saying, she's always in that dress.
Exactly.
Yeah, but interiors, and you do feel I feel a little bit of pressure from that side, because this is your house. It's not like a dress you go out and buy and you throw it on. You're talking about pieces of furniture, and and there is a little bit, you kind of feel under pressure that you have to, especially when you're working with brands and you're sending out paint and you feel like you're looking for something to paint sometimes.
Yeah, and you can't paint your living room every week.
You can't. It's not, so you have that kind of, you have to kind of style your rooms and try not to. People probably get bored then. You're afraid that people are going to get bored looking at your page going, oh, she's putting that room up again, she's putting that room up again. So there is a little bit of pressure like that, especially when you're working with brands, as I said. And you kind of feel like recently I did a collaboration with Command. Yeah. The Command strips, the hooks.
Oh, yeah. Love them.
So they just post you a load of hooks, and you have to think outside the box of how am I going to advertise these in a creative way. That's when I did my utility room ceiling, and so it is a job in itself, because you're always kind of trying to have to think how to be creative in your photography. Absolutely. How to be creative in showing a brand. You can't just stick the hooks on the wall and take a photo. I had to think of something that's going to kind of pop.
It's encouraging to know and to kind of hear that like behind some of those pristine pictures is a little bit of chaos, like you mentioned there, that your kids might be starving or whatever in the background, but you do live with 2 teenage girls as well. So how do they feel about you being an interior influencer? I'd say that would be pretty awesome, to be honest with you.
Well, initially they were embarrassed.
Were they really?
Yeah, they were like,
but you're so cool.
I know, but then they're friends. If I'm collecting them from school, they're like, that's a proud home, and they're waving at me. And Izzy and my daughter Isabel and Rachel will be like, this girl Aoife wants to come into the house because she wants to see your ceiling that you painted. Like, so their friends are interested. So then I'm a little bit cool now. I'm a little bit cool to them because their friends think I'm a little bit cool. So sometimes if they come over for sleepovers, which happens quite regularly now, they're on their summer holidays, I might take my phone out and take a photo of them, and they were like, we were featured on a proud home, and they were like,
that must be lovely though. Yeah, that's
but
nice.
Initially I think when they were younger they were a little bit embarrassed, especially with tiny things as well, because I was I'm on social media a lot with tiny things on Facebook and Instagram, and then I was doing a lot of a little bit TV work and magazines, so I was kind of out there with tiny things, so they kind of used to it, they kind of grew up with it. But it's just when this age, I think I'm getting cool now, but I'm still It was my daughter's birthday yesterday, and she's like, please don't put anything on your Instagram page. That's my birthday.
Yeah.
So I had to kind of keep that low because all her friends follow me.
Yeah.
I'd say like, well, there's a percentage of teenage boys and girls that follow my page.
And do they have any kind of interest in moving into that realm themselves? Like, do you see a little bit of your own creative design
In the girls?
flair in them? Yeah.
Isabel, I would. She's quite artistic. She does art, and she's very into her room and setting it out and
right,
tidying
yeah.
it up. Rachel, not so much. Yeah, she's the oldest one. But I think with time, like when I think back on when I was that age, it was more like in my late teens when I started to kind of get into, you know, interior, well, not
Yeah.
interior design, but kind of creativity and painting and things
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
I'm just jealous of your daughters, to be honest with you. I would love to have a mom like an Instagrammer. But I want to talk about a little bit more going back to DIY and kind of tips and tricks that might help our audience. So I know that you're in a home that you own, and obviously, you know, when you're in a forever home, you can really kind of go to town on it when it comes to design. But a huge amount of people at the moment are renting, and you know, with that comes its own struggles when it comes to kind of putting your own stamp on it. You're limited to what you can do. Like, there's not, you know, painting sometimes and hanging things up even aren't options that you have. So, I mean, I suppose, what would you say to people who really want to bring their own style and make it feel like a home when essentially, you know, they might only be there for 3 to 6 months, or, you know,
Yeah.
you never know if the landlord's going to come and say, get out
Yeah,
in 2 weeks.
yeah.
Like, that's kind of the world that we're living in at the moment, but you still want to make it feel like a home.
Home, yeah. Well, it depends on the landlord, of course. If you're allowed to paint it, which a lot of the landlords will let you paint.
Yeah.
I always say paint is the cheapest thing you can do to change the whole look of a room.
Yeah.
So, I mean, you could paint it. But there's loads of things you can do. I do think the renters are overlooked in the interiors industry. Just because you're renting a home or apartment, it doesn't mean you can't put your own stamp on it. There's loads you can do. I mean, you can
Yeah.
hang artwork on the walls. You can accessorize with rugs. As I said, painting. But, I mean, there's no reason why you can't put your mark on in a property that you're renting 100%. As I
Yeah.
said, you can accessorize. I mean, if you walked into an apartment that just has a couch, you could put rugs down, you could put table plants, you could put
Yeah.
pictures on the wall. 100% I would definitely, and when you're living in a space like that and you're coming home from work and you're walking into a shell of a place, for me anyway, it would just put me in a bad mood. And I think it's really important that you have all these things surrounding you to make you feel like, you know, when you go on holidays and you come home to your own house, I always get that feeling because it's the home that I created.
Yeah.
And even if it's just, as I said, tables, rugs, plants, throws, cushions can make such a difference. So I love walking into my house when I come home from holidays and just have that feeling where, oh my God, I'm home. And you have all your little knicky-knacks in your house that
Yeah.
kind of puts your name on it and puts your own personality on it. But I would definitely be able to, you know, put your own mark on it. I
Yeah.
would accessorize.
So
And
don't be afraid to
don't
kind
be
of
afraid, definitely
to try
not.
and do
Yeah.
it a little bit, yeah, and
And
just
then-
ask the landlord. Maybe
Absolutely,
you never
a
know.
lot of
They might be like,
landlords-
absolutely paint this apartment. you
Yeah,
know?
and it would make such a difference. And as I said, ask the landlord if you can paint it because it would make such a difference to it.
Yeah.
And then you can add your own bits, and you can a lot of there are Instagram pages in the UK I follow, and they're specifically rented houses. Grillo Designs is one, and she is brilliant, and she actually has a hashtag How I Rent, and she goes around to rented properties and does tours, and they show you ideas of what they've done. So there was one girl who changed the handles on her kitchen presses, and she put open shelving in. She has all her crockery up, and you know, little things like that to make a difference. To make it, and she has her own kitchen table and chairs that she bought in B&Q, and definitely, you could definitely put your own mark on it. Your rented property.
Yeah, definitely. I follow a lot of accounts, like Mr. Kate. She was actually on, I don't know if you follow her, she's an American designer, and she was actually on Girls with Goals there last year. We did a phone interview with her. She's based in Los Angeles, but she was renting for years. She bought her own house now. But I think it was something about maybe in America, whether the landlords were just a little bit more lenient, or whether because everybody rents in
Right,
New York
yeah.
and most people rent in California and stuff like this. So there was never a question. It was very much when you moved in, it was your home, and you
Yeah.
could almost do as much as you wanted to it, and it was amazing to see. But I want to ask a little bit about budgeting as well, because, you know, like we were talking about the comparison between, you know, fashion and interiors as well. It's not necessarily cheap. Now, I know, like, if you're doing it yourself and if you've got DIY tricks, you know, they can be really budget friendly. But, you know, if you're on a budget, is there ways in which, I mean, does patience come into it a little bit? Because like you can't do everything at once. Like I have to tell you a story, Joanne, right? So I decided it was a great idea one weekend to paint my apartment on my own with absolutely no help. I'm 5'1". It was a very difficult thing to do. I thought I could literally do it in one weekend. I couldn't. So I got so frustrated. Now half the apartment is fantastic, and that's half the apartment that I take pictures of. But the other half of my apartment has still not been painted, and it's only because I got so frustrated at myself for not being prepared and for spending all this money on paint, and like the rest of the paint is still there and I will come back to it eventually, but I had to kind of step away from it for a while for my own sanity as well. So sometimes taking on a big budget DIY job yourself can end in a half-painted apartment.
And why didn't you finish it though?
I don't know. It was Sunday night and I was just knackered, to be honest.
So you didn't mess it up. You just got too tired.
I got too tired. I didn't mess it up. It's lovely.
Yeah.
And then the other wall that needs to be done is around the kitchen, which will be more intricate. And it's as well like just having the time and a weekend when I'm there. So it's about timing. But like, you know, do you ever have big projects that you know you're not going to be able to finish? And do you have budget plans in place in order to get them done?
Yeah. No, I actually I could be sitting on the couch and I just get a notion in my head that I'm going to start wallpapering the whole stairs in London, and there's no preparation. Like you, I would just get paint. I don't put anything down. I just start painting. And a lot of times I say to people, if they want to do any DIYs in their home, to start small if you're not used to it, because like that, if you take on a huge project, your initial project, a big one, and if you mess it up or you get fed up halfway through, chances are you're just going to throw in the towel and you'll be annoyed at yourself and you're like, I'm not doing that again, and it just leaves a bad taste in your mouth. You don't want to do it. So loads of people say to me, oh, I want to try this, I want to try that. And I would always say, just start small. So don't start off
by painting your entire apartment.
A huge job. Small little projects, like maybe paint a table, I'm obsessed with painting floor tiles, especially magnolia floor tiles. So a small area, because I've done my ensuite floor tiles and my downstairs toilet floor tiles. I painted and stenciled them, and they were really nice. And people would say, I have a full kitchen, massive kitchen. I'd love to do the tiles. And I'm like, please don't. On your first, maybe go into a small space, a utility room or a downstairs toilet or an ensuite, and paint your floor tiles there. Please don't start.
How do you paint your floor tiles? I mean, is there like a specific paint that you can paint your floor tiles with?
Well, I use chalk paint, but there is other paints you could use.
And do you paint like, just say there's just plain white, would you paint them like green or like any colour you wanted?
I had magnolia tiles and I painted them grey. And I did a stencil on them. And
then a stencil, like is this, what kind of stencil?
I used a stencil.
Tell me everything.
So it's like a plastic, a stencil. It's a plastic design and you put it down and you kind of blot your paint on and move on. You have a little design on your tile, so it looks like, rather than just painting your tiles a colour, it gives it a little design. Have a look on my Instagram page. I did it last year actually in my ensuite during the heat wave, and I have fans all around me, and that was a job I started. A small area, but it's back-breaking work, but the result at the end is amazing. And then you just put 3 layers of clear varnish on it to seal it, otherwise it would just wash off after you come out of the shower, so you need to seal it. That's the most important part.
Sealing it. Now see, if you hadn't said that,
it would just, if you even splash a bit of water on it, it would come off. So it's really important that
3 layers of varnish.
So you'll be high as a kite. Make sure you open the windows.
And make sure like no dogs run into it or anything like that. I'll have to send you pictures of my apartment, then maybe you can give me some tips. So Joanne, tell us before we let you go what kind of things you have coming up. I know you said that there's an event coming up in August as well, so tell us about that.
Yes, we have an event. So there's 4 interiors Instagrammers. It's myself, Vintage Irish Cat, Joanne Condon from Kyle Lane, and Darren Heaney from Old Victoria New. So we're all 4 interior obsessed Instagrammers, and we are doing an event in the Chocolate Factory on the 17th of August, and it's #RoundOurGaff, and it's going to be a day of demos. So I'm going to do demos. I'm going to be painting tiles on the stage, showing you how to do these stuff. That's one. And other stuff like my punch needle and my pom-pom making, stuff that people always DM. I get so many messages on my Instagram, how do you do this, how do you do that? So I'll be doing demos. My pom-pom obsession.
I'm obsessed with your pom-poms. I saw you help decorate Claire
Oh, yeah.
Balding's new shop.
Yeah, yeah.
And there's like a pom-pom
Curtain,
window
yeah,
curtain. Oh
yeah,
my God, it looks
yeah,
amazing.
Yeah, no, that was great fun. That was the four of us that did that. So the four of us that are doing round our gaff, we got stuck in there. Claire had messaged me months and months before that opened. She'd followed me on Instagram. She said she really liked my style and she'd like to have that kind of quirky look in her salon.
Yeah.
And I thought it was just going to be one room like a hairdresser's, but it's actually a 4-bedroom house.
Yeah.
Upstairs and everything. So anyway, yeah, the four of us all got stuck. I said I couldn't. As much as I thought I could do on my own, we stenciled a floor. We did loads in that. So
Yeah.
I got these 3 other Instagrammers, and we all went over and got stuck in.
It looked like you were there for like a week, like
we were there for
labor intensive.
Oh, it was. But we were like so happy. We were like
Yeah.
kids. We just had such a laugh. And after we did that, and we got so much done, we painted the outside of the shop. We did pom-poms all over a ceiling in a toilet. It was just loads of gallery walls. And after we did that, we said we have to get together again and do something like this to show other people, you know, in their homes how to be more creative and step outside the box and step away from the grey, step away from the magnolia and be more creative at home. So that's what it's all about this day anyway. And it's a full day of afternoon tea and chats and demos. And it's from 11 to 4 on the 17th of August in the Chocolate Factory. So that's what we have. A few other things coming up, but that's probably the biggest thing.
Amazing. And people can get in touch with you on a Proud Home Go and have a look at everything, and also Tiny Things as well, which we were discussing.
I'm still tipping away at my tiny things. I'm still
tipping away. Well, Joanne Mooney, it's been an absolute pleasure having you in.
Thank you. No, thank you for having me.
No, thank you.
Really
We'll have you
enjoyed
in
it.
again, and I'm going to talk to whoever I need to talk to about trying to get a yellow couch in here.
Oh, yes.
Do you think it would
Absolutely.
match? Like,
Oh,
see,
definitely.
Our logo is orange though, so I mean, like, what would you do to these couches? Just tell me what you would do to these couches before I let you go.
I would. Mate, you could keep I have a grey couch. I
Okay.
have a grey couch in my peach room, and peach and grey go well. So this is a good colour combo.
Okay.
I would definitely maybe put some throws. Maybe you could even put some sheepskins here and nice colourful cushions. I would have a little flower maybe.
Do you know,
on
I would
that.
have a flower on that table as
Yeah,
well.
a
That was
nice
vetoed.
vase, a
I
nice-
wanted a vase on the table and
Yeah.
they said no to me.
Yeah, no, you need a few little props on that table.
Yeah.
Maybe little books and a little plant on top, or a little candle or something. But
Do you think we
yeah.
could do some pom-poms on the wall?
Pom-pom garland would be really nice.
Yeah?
Or you could have tassels hanging down from them.
Tassels?
Oh yeah, you just needs to be Joanne's, this whole space here.
Okay, well, I'll get you in maybe sooner than we think then. Maybe we can redesign this out. Thank you so much for
You're
coming
welcome,
in.
thank you.
That is all the time that we have for this week. Make sure you go and follow Joanne on all of her social media stuff for the most incredible colours that you will ever see and all the interior tips. You can get in touch with me, neve.mar@her.ie. Do get in touch with anything and make sure you go like and subscribe to us on iTunes, on Spotify and on YouTube as well. We'll see you next week.